The US imports over 2,000 tons of this bright green powder from Japan a year. This specific powder is the highest quality and most expensive version of matcha, known as ceremonial grade. As the matcha frenzy reaches new heights in the US, more Western consumers are opting for this type of matcha over less expensive versions, or matcha grown outside Japan. But with Japanese farmers struggling to keep up with demand, matcha shortages around the world, and prices soaring to new records, picky matcha drinkers might actually be making the problem worse.
We do have some crazy matcha connoisseurs that come in.
But these labels may not be as definitive as we think.
Anyone can label anything as ceremonial grade and use it as a marketing term.
So are people in the US drinking matcha all wrong? And is that the only reason why matcha is more expensive than ever? Matcha drinkers in the US typically think about the tea in two quality-based categories: culinary grade, the lower quality version, and ceremonial grade, the higher quality one. But in Japan, the traditional classifications were completely different, based on when the tea was served during a Japanese tea ceremony known as chanoyu. Koicha, or thick tea, was served at the beginning, and usucha, or thin tea, would come at the end. For koicha,
Like a thick soup or like melted ice cream would be a good way to describe the consistency. It's really viscous.
Rebecca Corbett has been studying and practicing chanoyu for over 20 years.
Because of that viscosity, and there's so much tea in there, you want it to be the highest quality blend that you can get.
For usucha, practitioners whisked the matcha powder with more water, creating a lighter, frothier drink.
We can think of the thin tea portion of a tea gathering as kind of the most informal and relaxed part at the end of the tea gathering.
For centuries, ceremonies like these were the primary way matcha was consumed in Japan.
Most people in Japan did not consume matcha very often. Its main consumption was among people in the tea practitioner community.
It wasn't until the 20th century that people in Japan began consuming matcha more casually. It also became a popular flavoring in baked goods and desserts. But in the US, it was still nearly impossible to find. In the early 2000s, Japan exported just 1% of its tea. Matcha was always more expensive than other teas. Around this time, a pack of green tea bags in the US cost around $3 to $4, while a small tin of matcha could cost up to 10 times more. And the bold taste of matcha in its pure form was another barrier for Western drinkers.
I've read a lot of newspaper articles and travel diaries. They're using phrases like green gruel, bitter, unpalatable. They use pea soup as a common description in a not flattering way.
But 2006 marked a turning point for matcha in the US. That's when Starbucks brought matcha to the masses through its green tea latte. Unlike its traditional preparation, this drink was sweetened, served with milk, and either served hot or iced.
People knew Starbucks. I mean, there's a built-in audience there.
That's Rona Tison, the North America tea ambassador for the Japanese brand Ito-En.
The fact that they introduced matcha in a beverage that was more familiar to a lot of, sweetened beverages. I would have to say that was probably the beginning that it really kind of went mainstream and widespread.
In 2007, the term ceremonial grade matcha was coined in the West. According to Canadian brand Dough Matcha, it was their founder who came up with the category. It was created to differentiate it from culinary grade matcha, which is intended for cooking or baking, with a stronger, slightly bitter flavor.
Culinary tends to be much more older plant and not of the really high-grade tea leaf.
The higher quality ceremonial grade matcha is typically made from young tea leaves that come exclusively from the first harvest of the picking season. It's rich in the chemical L-theanine, which gives the tea a slight natural sweetness, making it better for drinking. Ceremonial grade matcha is typically priced higher than culinary grade matcha, costing anywhere from $20 to over $50 per ounce, while culinary grade matcha is typically under $20 per ounce. Matcha's popularity in the US continued to grow in the 2010s, with Google searches for matcha beginning to rise more steadily around 2012. Ito-en, Rona Tison's tea company, rolled out its matcha love line in 2015. Even Business Insider covered the craze, releasing several videos about the bright green tea powder.
I'm getting hungry. The power of social media is pretty phenomenal, and it really, the outreach globally is amazing.
Today, the US is the biggest importer of Japanese matcha, accounting for nearly 80% of the country's powdered green tea exports in 2024. Google searches for matcha reached an all-time high in 2025. There are even cafes dedicated solely to the green tea powder. You'll find it in almost everything on the menu at the New York City cafe Aoko Matcha. Matcha lattes, matcha soft serve, and even gelato. Aoko Matcha has only been open since August 2025. Its owner, Isabella Pang, says business is booming as prices for matcha continue to climb.
Customers are really happy with it. It turned out better than I thought, actually.
She uses only ceremonial grade matcha in all of her matcha desserts, which she says she sources directly from Japan.
Some people come for the matcha latte specifically because they want to taste all different matcha lattes in the city. We do have so crazy matcha connoisseurs that come in and it's like, this is super good, or this is a little bit too sweet.
Aoko's menu mainly consists of desserts, with its matcha mochi parfait being one of the most popular. It starts with a base of matcha pudding and syrup.
So we do make our pudding in-house, but it's very light. It doesn't taste sweet at all.
Then it's layered with matcha soft serve, rice crisps, more soft serve, mochi balls, and red bean paste.
Our gelato is our specialty. Right now, we do have levels 1 through 5, 1 being the most sweet and 5 is being the most bitter. So personally, I like level 3 because it's right in the middle, but people that love matcha go straight to level 5.
It's not just cafes like Aoko Matcha fueling this recent matcha craze. Communities are forming in pockets of the internet, such as Matcha Talk, where matcha enthusiasts share recipes and tips.
As I've always said, matcha is very versatile, but goodness, it's been sort of applied in so many different food products and beverages.
But producing enough for matcha's growing fan base is becoming increasingly challenging.
60% ぐらいは海外の方じゃないかなと思ってます。
We first met Jintaro Yamamoto back in 2022 on his over 180-year-old farm in Kyoto. The region is responsible for 25% of Japan's production of tencha, the tea leaf from which matcha is made. The harvest begins in the spring, when workers gather the young leaves used for ceremonial grade matcha.
本当にもう触れば折れるほど柔らかいので力は積むのにはいらない。
But it's more than just Western categories putting a strain on Japanese supply. This is Jintaro's elaborate shading system, designed to protect the leaves, a step that's perhaps become more important than ever. In 2024, intense heat waves damaged tea bushes in Kyoto.
っていうのが本当にこの2年間不安定な抵抗が続いていたんで、収穫できる量っていうのが非常に少なくなってしまったっていうことはあったんですけど、肥料をやる時期をちょっと変えたりとか、多い、影を作る、タイミングをずらしたりとかで、あとはもちろん収穫するタイミングっていうのも考えて、なるべく、より良い茶ができるように、努力しました。
But even with these adjustments, he says his farm's yields took a hit. After the leaves are picked, Jintaro starts by steaming the tencha leaves. This locks in their flavor and preserves their rich green color. He cools them with a leaf spreader and places them in a nearly century-old furnace to dry.
この風合いを
守りながら、なるべく自分の理想とするところのいいものができるようにしたいなと思って。
After drying, the leaves' stems are removed and then they are prepared for grinding. Jintaro grinds his tencha leaves using a handmade granite stone mill. This traditional method creates a fine powder that preserves the nutrients of the tencha. It takes Jintaro an hour to grind just 40 grams of matcha.
いただきます。
Another issue plaguing Japan's tencha production is the shrinking number of tea farmers available to grow it. With most tea farmers in their 60s and 70s, and a few young growers like Jintaro joining the field, there aren't enough new farmers to take over existing tea fields or expand production. These issues have created a shortage that's driving the price of matcha upward. The average price of tencha reached 8,235 yen, or $56 per kilogram in April 2025, the highest it's ever been.
お茶の量っていうのがかなり減ってしまいました。なので、それを補填するためにも、あとは、いいお茶を作り続けるために、必要だと感じたので、値段を上げさせていただきました。そうですね、うちでは、30% ぐらい。
These producer price hikes trickle down to distributors like Ito-En, the company Rona works for. In September, it increased its prices on some of its premium grade matcha products, as well as double the price of its ceremonial grade matcha.
We've unfortunately had to, it's becoming difficult to get matcha these days.
On top of everything, new U.S. tariffs threaten to make Japanese matcha even pricier for American consumers. Isabella is also thinking about price increases for Aoko Matcha in New York City.
During August and September, we stocked up a lot because we knew we were gonna have a big inventory, but it definitely has impacted our goods. A lot of our pricing, it is more expensive, especially with the tariffs happening as well. Therefore, our gelatos and our lattes and our parfaits will unfortunately have to increase a little bit throughout time.
Even with prices reaching record highs, global consumers continue to demand ceremonial grade.
That's what gives it that like smooth, umami-rich taste, and as well as like that bright color that you see in our gelatos and lattes.
But matcha purists like Rebecca see things differently.
If you're using it in a beverage that has a lot of other flavors added, and other sweeteners in particular, then it's okay for that matcha to be more bitter and to be a lower grade and cheaper matcha. You don't need to be buying the highest quality. To me, the analogies I would give would be buying a really expensive bottle of French red wine and adding fruit and sugar to it to make sangria. So I think especially in this period where we're seeing a matcha shortage and that the producers are struggling to keep up with demand, I think it's really important to just be mindful of that and not wasteful of a product.
She also worries that people may be paying premium prices for ceremonial matcha that is not actually of higher quality.
Anyone can label anything as ceremonial grade and use it as a marketing term. So it basically means that it's like the Wild West, it's totally unregulated.
As global demand for matcha puts strain on Japan's supply, new players are also entering the market. China has surged ahead over the past 2 decades and is now the world's top producer.
I know that they are actually inviting many of the Japanese matcha makers to really learn how to make matcha properly and learn the expertise in all this.
Chinese matcha sells for less. But does a label or country of origin really determine quality? We decided to do a blind taste test with some colleagues.
I have tried matcha before. The cafes I go to usually have some sort of fun flavor going on, like a strawberry shortcake matcha, or even recently, like I had a banana bread one.
I am a bit of a matcha hater. Tried to like it, but even with sugar, it tastes a little swampy to me, unfortunately.
I have tried matcha before. It was when the matcha craze first came to like America, so a lot of years ago. I had it and I went, I'm not sure if this is for me.
So I'd probably say this one looks the most appetizing to me.
Looks yummy, but I bet it's not. but it looks like a yummy green juice that I would enjoy.
I don't have to drink all of this, right? Okay, it's actually not as bad as I was expecting. Maybe it tastes more a little bit like grass, but like it's very light.
So that one definitely has like that bitter, earthy taste to it. And then there's like a slight like floral flavor to it, which is really nice.
Oh, actually, that wasn't bad at all. I mean, it tastes like tea. That tastes good. It just tastes like a very herbal tea. I guess I like it, huh? Yeah, I keep sipping it. So I guess I like it. I'm coming back for it.
That one's much stronger. Okay, yeah, that one tastes like pond scum, which I've never had, but I imagine that's what it tastes like.
This one's a little bit more earthy, almost like just plant-like. And I kind of miss the floral flavor that I was getting from this one over here.
See, that tastes like grass, which is what I was expecting. It's extremely bitter.
It didn't immediately repulse me, so that's good. Yeah, it tastes spinachy, it tastes drinkable.
Afterwards, I'm sitting with like a sour, like a weird sour taste on my tongue. It kind of feels like it left a film of an unflattering taste. Yeah, this one's not doing much at all.
It's definitely the lightest tasting. It tastes like almost nothing. This is definitely the most subtle flavor of the three, and yet I dislike it the most for some reason.
Definitely the lowest, this is in the middle, and this is the highest.
Okay, my ranking is 3, 2, 1.
I would say this would definitely be my first choice for the matcha latte. I think with the bitterness of it, the sweetness of like the latte would come through nice.
The results are in, and all three participants chose the Chinese ceremonial matcha as their favorite. 2 ranked Japanese ceremonial as second, with 1 choosing it as the worst, and 2 out of 3 ranked Japanese culinary grade in last place.
Like these two, they have way more flavor with them. They're just a more pleasurable drinking experience. You can tell that they were made to be drank.
This is definitely like, if you're a fan of matcha, this is what I would think of when I think of matcha, and it tastes the most matcha-y.
While preferences may vary, Japan still sets the standard for ceremonial matcha.
Hopefully, maybe after a year, and hopefully matcha powder will be lowered a little bit, so it's basically more affordable for everyone.
Isabella's customers also say they're willing to spend a little extra to get their matcha fix.
Yeah, I would definitely still keep coming back because I just feel like you just can't really like top the quality here. Like I just love like the richness, the earthiness that come through when I eat like the level 3 matcha.
I think even today it is considered a bit of a luxury product. I think people would really don't mind spending the extra money to have special matcha.
In Japan, officials are working to increase matcha production by encouraging tea farmers to shift their focus from other types of teas to grow matcha in order to meet the demand. The country's Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries is providing subsidies to help tea farmers transition to growing tencha. And Gentaro says he's seeing more and more young people taking up tea farming.
私の周りにも私より若い、後継ぎ、いわゆる、茶農家を今後やっていくっていう若者もいますし。
But even with these ongoing efforts, a single season of climate stress can have long-term effects on the market. Once a tencha plantation is damaged, it can take up to 5 years to restore it to full production and meet soaring demand. And Gentaro believes climate events like these are far from over.
I would like people to kind of respect that and understand that and be mindful in their consumption.
The time and effort it takes and the attention to creating that for this beautiful bowl of matcha green tea is really something that needs to be respected and honored.